Welcome, ladies, to the Real Estate Investor Show, providing inspiration, strategies, and insight to empower women investors to live balanced and financially free lives. Now, here are your co-hosts, Liz and Andressa.
Welcome back, ladies. This is Liz.
And this is Andressa.
Welcome back to the Real Estate Investor Show, where our mission is to empower women to live a financially free and balanced life. And whatever,
Indeed.
as Andressa says, balance means to you.
Right.
So we are excited about coming back with you for a mini-sode. These are our 10-minute shows that we record just on Jess and I. You just got us two ladies. And what we talk about is something that's pertinent in one of our three pillars that we love to teach on. And that what we stand for is investing as our core business and just making sure you're running your investing not as a hobby, but as a business. And the third, and probably the most important, is self-care and mindset and kind of taking care of ourselves as women. So that is the theme for today. We're going to be talking about some self-care, really some cool ideas around that, because it's a big topic for us women. Okay, so we are back talking about creating a self-care habit or habits that stick. I don't think I have to tell any of the women that are listening to us today or follow us in our community and our members of our Strive members or are part of our meetups across the country or listen to our podcast across the world. I don't think I have to tell any of you how important self-care is, right? It's not like, wow, I haven't thought of that before. However, it's in the knowing and the doing. And then there's a gap between those two things in life, right? We know in order to lose weight, eat less food and, consume less calories than moving your body, if you will, like, calories in, calories out. We know that that's, if you want to lose weight, you can't put more calories in than are coming out, so to speak. But yet that's still something that a lot of people work on, right? They're because it's not just as simple as that, right? And self-care is not just, oh, I have my self-care time today. Check. Just not that simple. So, as Andressa and I love talking about things, we talk about things because we are on this journey with you. And we always like to say that because it's not like we're done by any means. And no one is done. Everyone's exploring and learning and growing, and we're on this journey with you. So when it comes to self-care, I wanted to share, number one, I wanted to go into, Andressa, a little bit about what does it really mean, right? Because you can Google what is self-care. And again, we're not encouraging anyone needing to do that, but I want to give you 4 buckets of self-care and then talk about the habits that you need to put in place to honor those 4 areas, because self-care just doesn't happen by itself. Like, you know what I mean, Andressa? Like, it just doesn't happen without an intention, a really clear intention. I don't know about you.
Even if you are not comfortable with that intention, but you're trying it out. I feel that after I turned 40, a lot of things shifted and I am giving permission to try and see how I feel about things. Even if I am not like, oh, this is going to be great, or I really dislike that and I'm not going to do it. So I feel that I'm giving myself permission to do certain things that I'm not used to do.
Yeah. And when I put some of these ideas together, it's also for the women who are like, oh yeah, I take care of myself. I work out, I do this. And then at the end of the day, they sometimes feel still depleted. They still feel like I did those things, but I don't feel like I did, right? I don't feel full of what do we want self-care to do? It's not outside of us. It's really something we want to feel more, that we're taking care of ourselves. So we feel more present. We feel more joyful. We feel more happy. We feel like we're creating this financial independence and this financial freedom in a way that is calm and is connected to what we're up to in our purpose, right? No one
It's
wants to
like
do
we
it.
have an internal compass, right?
Yeah,
It feels that okay, we're aligned or we're not.
exactly. So here are the 4 areas of self-care that I think is something to think about for yourself. And again, not take notes, but we're big fans of take one action from these mini-sodes or from anything that we're up to, because then, it all helps you move along your journey. So the 4 areas of self-care are your mental health. It's all health, right? Mental health, your physical health, your emotional health, and then your spiritual health, and whatever spiritual means to you. And some people are, are more God-centered. I know I am. Other people like universe, or if it's, whatever your belief system is. So insert that for spiritual, whatever works for you. So you got those 4 areas, right? Mental, physical, emotional, and spiritual. And I think self-care is part of all 4 of those. So the question then becomes, do you think of your self-care in those 4 areas? And then the second question is, what are you doing on a daily basis, a weekly basis, a monthly basis that is creating a positive habit for yourself to take care of yourself in those 4 areas? So I'm going to give you an example because we work best with examples for me at least. So I'm someone that if I have to like score myself, right? Because I am kind of tough on myself, but
You are.
if I have to score myself, if out of the 4, mental, physical, emotional, and spiritual, I put physical first. I probably make the most time for I actually put physical and spiritual head to head. So physical, good. I usually take at least 3 days a week, 4 days a week, and I move my body. This week has been a little different, but that's okay. We got to move things around sometimes in life. But overall, I'm pretty good there. Spiritual, yes. I wake up, I do my prayer, I do my meditation. Okay. So I score myself pretty well there. All right, let's go to mental and emotional. I think I'd score myself less there. So I've been creating a habit to fill that cup for myself. And I didn't realize how important that was. So let's talk about that. Emotional. Does that
Sure.
mean, Liz, I'm emotional? That's what I'm talking about. I'm talking about, are you on a daily basis aware of how you feel, mindful of how you feel, and are you able to course correct when it's not serving you? So for example, you have a conversation with someone, it's really frustrating, you're really annoyed. Are you able to be aware of that?
Mm.
Number 2, are you then able to like take care of yourself from the sense of letting go of that, shifting your focus, or just having 5 minutes to just bitch and complain and then move on? But that's emotional self-care. Do you talk about it with people? Do you just go internally? Whatever works for you. But I don't know about you, but I feel like I did turn, I'm over 40 now, not that old, but I'm over 40. And I didn't realize how much I ignored my emotional self-care.
Mm.
We're just pound through the day. We make it happen. We're spinning plates. We're making things happen. We're doing all this stuff. And you're like, holy crap, I am really frustrated. Why am I so frustrated? Maybe it's just me. I don't know.
No, I think that there's like I see stages, right? Not that there is an evolution, but stages. The first stage where people are not even aware of that that's happening with them, and then the other stage is that you are aware after the fact. You're like,
Yep.
oh shit, I shouldn't have done that,
Yep.
or I could have handled it differently. That's a
Mm-hmm.
good awareness. And
Mm-hmm.
then I think that the other one is when it's happening, you're like aware of that at that moment, or not say like you're pissed off, but there's part of you that it's not pissed off and it's observing that part of you that it is.
Yep.
So at the moment, and I think the ultimate goal is to really like, okay, this is happening right now and I'm gonna course correct as it happens. I
Yep.
I don't think I am I need a couple of lives to get to that
To get to that point.
level of like, and maybe not. Maybe as I get older, I think that I am more aware of what's going on. But the goal is to really, to me, right?
Yep.
I can always talk about myself. My goal
Yeah.
is to really course correct. That's where I'm working towards. Course correct as I'm going through.
Yep. And I've shared this on my run with Liz, but I have started working with I'm laughing, not really, it's funny, but I
Therapist.
am
Yeah.
working with a therapist. And something, so as I say things, I can't even take credit, but she said to me, and I think it's really helpful for women to hear this, is that we try to sometimes solve what we're going through before just being okay with knowing like what's coming up for me here.
Yeah.
And usually the triggers are in our body, right? Our heartbeats, we close out, we whatever works for you. Some people go stronger, some people retreat, right? We all manage conflict or something that's not working in our lives differently, depending on who you are. And we don't have time for all that today. But the bottom line, let's go back to emotional self-care, is a question I've been asking myself. And something I've been thinking about every day before I start my day is like, what, be present to what's going on today in every conversation with everyone you have. I don't have to be perfect. I might get a little triggered in different ways for different things, but just be aware. So that's what I'm working on. I'm taking baby steps.
We all
Now,
are taking baby steps as we grow
right.
older and get wiser. Thank God we are
Yeah.
taking, baby steps in different areas. I think that when we look back and the things that I am not so proud of, a lot of things that I've done, my decisions or how I handled things in the past. And when I look at it, I was like, wow, my mindset right there is different than where
Yeah.
where I am right now. So, we're all growing.
Absolutely. So that's the emotional part. And an emotional part too for you is to say, what does emotional self-care look like to me? Right now, it's for me asking questions on a daily basis of just like, hey, how's Liz feeling? And I talk about myself as I'm a third party. What works for you? But your emotional self-care, I think, is so important. And there's so much going on in our society right now. And there's so much that women do and are to so many people. And if you don't keep your emotional self-care in check, no one will do it for you. It's the same thing for your spiritual, mental, and physical. So the last one being mental, you know, I think something that I've done that's been helpful as a habit, and I like to do this almost every day. I'm not up to that point, but on a weekly basis, I have had a date with myself on Friday mornings, and I don't wake up and work because I do that or I work out. Usually I'm working or working out in the mornings. I've been having a scheduled time to think. So to me, that's like mental self-care. Just like check in with myself. How are you doing? What's working? What's not? How you doing? Like I know it sounds so trite in some ways, but I think for me, scheduling that time to literally ask myself and check in with myself has been really helpful. Because sometimes the answer is like, I'm doing really well. I'm feeling really peaceful about X, Y, and Z. Or I'm like, oh, I feel really overwhelmed, or I'm really doing, so I journal about it, I get it out, and then it helps me get back to my self-care of taking care of myself. So wherever you are in those four buckets, I know we're going over a little bit, but here's the four again: mental, physical, emotional, and spiritual. Again, the overambitious women are going to like, all right, what can I do in all four areas right now? I'm going to take a step back. What is the area for you that if you created a new habit on a weekly basis, it would create a lot more balance for yourself? So that's really what I want you to answer. Out of mental, physical, emotional, and spiritual, what one of those four, if you were to create a habit around, so if it's mental or physical, say physical, if you created a new habit or stuck to a habit, I should say, on a weekly basis, it would move that needle forward for you and really, really taking care of yourself in a way that sticks and moves the needle.
I
So
love that.
that's
And
the
it's
homework
all
assignment.
related to real estate, right? How our potential, our full potential will affect how we make decisions, how we see possibilities, how we resolve problems, deal with relationships, and all the good stuff that happen in a daily basis on our real estate investments. So if you're like, why are you guys talking about this? Because the results of you being your 100% self will reflect in your business. It is reflecting right now, if you want it or not, in your life and in your business. And we stand for you to take care of yourself and put yourself first. So thank you so much for listening today. As Liz said, take one thing and go ahead, move forward. And we will talk to you soon on our next episode. If you enjoyed this podcast and want to receive updates on our next interviews, go to our website, therealestateinvestor.com. There, you can subscribe to our show, become part of our investor community, and get updates on upcoming episodes.
If you like our show, please share it with other women who would benefit. And don't forget to leave us a rating on iTunes. We'd really appreciate it. And as always, we encourage you to take one action as a result of today's show and put it into motion so you can live both a financially free and balanced life. Thanks for spending time with us.
Ciao.